Hello there. Nice to see you, everybody. Going for a trip to Uppsala. Why don't you join me? Time to hunt for records in Uppsala. Gamla Fyrisån. Lite gråare och tystare än vanligt. Hello YouTubers, time for another little video where I show some of the records that I purchased, and the ones that I'm showing and talking about in this video is those that I bought in Uppsala. I usually take a trip to Uppsala at this time of the year at the end of my summer vacation, summer break, and I'm usually quite happy with what I get there, and this time wasn't any exception. The big difference from previous visits is that this time it was actually rather cold. It was cold. There were quite cold winds. It's usually very hot when I'm in Uppsala, even in the springtime. And also we had a very hot weather, well, all over Europe, I think, just a week ago. So, enough waffling. What did I find? Well, first of all, we have a little Candy Staten single on the Fame label. Sweet Feeling Evidence, I think it's from 1970. And you know, Candy Staten on Fame is always gold. Even if I'm not really considering myself a vinyl single collector. That sounds a bit weird since I have 19 boxes of vinyl singles in my shelves. So no, forget that last statement. Then we have a compilation album that I bought just because I thought it was such a weird theme. It's called Death, Glory and Retribution. 15 rock rarities including death discs, protest songs and answer records. Yeah, I know. Well, we have Jody Reynolds' Endless Sleep, Jan and Dean, Dead Man's Curve, Glenn Campbell's Universal Soldier, Johnny Burnett, God, Country and My Baby, Then I Kissed Her by Beach Boys, many other tracks like that. A bit of a scary album cover with themes from the 1950s. It's on EMI America and it's from 1985. Don't have that much more to say about that. Then over to Peter Green of, well, Fleetwood Mac fame. I would say the time when Fleetwood Mac were great was when Peter Green was with them. Anyway, this is one of his solo albums. It's called Blue Guitar, and you see how the sleeve is kind of wobbly like this. It was still in shrink, and the shrink has started to tighten to the sleeve, so it has caused this effect. I think that's the reason why it looks like this. I've seen it before. Also, it might be some sort of water damage, but I think more about the actual shrink wrap theory. It is in nice blue vinyl on the Creole label, and it's very gentle guitar music, relaxing music, pleasant, not that exciting perhaps, but very pleasant. Talk about pleasant music. I bought a compilation of Vangelis, the best of Vangelis, from 1978 on RCA Victor UK pressing. In the 80s and 90s, I listened quite a lot to Vangelis and I had some compilation CD. And also, of course, I was deeply in love with his big 1980s hit Chariots of Fire. That was played everywhere, and for good reasons. It's amazing. So this is before Chariots of Fire, so that's not included. But my favorite track, of course, To the Unknown Man, that I can listen to over and over and over again. I used to have Spiral, one of his albums, where you find this To the Unknown Man, but it has been lost during some move sometime. I'm not really sure when, but and I think this is probably enough. A nice compilation on RCA Victor with Vangelis. Yeah, I want to take that later. Oh, but this is something that was a great. I was so happy I found this, and I listened to it, and it's amazing. Shirley Scott and the Soul Saxes, King Curtis, Hank Crawford, Davy Newman. Shirley Scott, if you're not aware of her, she was a jazz organist, and this is a recording, or Atlantic record. Look at the lamination. You can catch the light from the ceiling here. It's wonderful. On Atlantic from 1968. 7 great tracks, very famous songs, played with a Hammond organ jazz style, with, of course, the saxophones of these 3 great guys, King Curtis, Hank Crawford, and Davy Newman. Really groovy album. It was great to listen to. This is the kind of stuff that I really, really like. Oh yeah. Speaking about lamination, I found an album which is probably the most laminated album cover I've ever seen. And it's Boko of Blues by Ringo Starr from 1970 on Apple Records. This is an original UK pressing, I think. Yeah, Ringo Starr was always a great fan of country music, and he got some contacts in Nashville who asked him to come over to Nashville and do a country record, and it was really done not in a haste, but they had really planned it well in advance. It was a very organized and effective recording if you compare it to the kind of Beatles recordings that were made in the late 60s that took forever. I mean, Ringo Starr, I think it said something. I was given the 5 songs in the morning. I was told, learn them, and we'll record them in the afternoon, and they may be recorded during 2-3 days, and the record was done. But this is doesn't feel hastily done. We got the real elite of Nashville musicians. Well, we got DJ Fontana is on this, and Jerry Reed, and Charlie Dangels, and Chuck Howard, Charlie McCoy. I mean, if you're into country music, these names really ring many bells. Yeah, speaking about, I talked about laminated because you can see this is a very laminated, and the back sleeve also. And this is a fold-out cover, and even the inside of the fold-out cover is very laminated. Look. You rarely see this, and this is the most laminated album cover I've ever seen. And anyway, it's a great album, a great country album. Great songs, greatly produced, and well performed by the musicians. It has one weakness, and that's Ringo Starr. because le- he probably would have needed more takes to get the vocals perfectly right, because he is a bit wobbly on the voice in some of the tracks. I can imagine that the Beatles tracks that he recorded, they record the vocals over and over and over again, maybe put it all together so it sounded right at the end. But he is a bit shaky in the vocals in some of the tracks here, which is a bit of a pity. But still, it's Ringo. It's charming. It's lovely. I don't have that many Ringo albums. I've got Sentimental Journey, and I got the one he did after this one, Ringo from 1973. Might get Goodnight Vienna sometime in the future, but apart from that, not that interested in his albums, even though I'm a great Beatles fan. Um, but I wonder what it would have sounded like if, let's say, Bobby Bear had been doing the vocals on this album instead. Would probably have been sounding weird if we still would have called it Boko of Blues with Ringo Starr, with him on the front, right? Well, enough waffling. Yeah, I'm very interested in pop singers, especially female pop singers in the late 60s and early 70s from all around, well, Europe and, well, Asia also, for that matter. America, we've already been through most of them. But anyway, I found this album by a German singer who had the artist name Alexandra. It wasn't a real name. And it's called Unvergessen, and that means unforgettable. And it's on the Philips, very laminated here too, with lots of images of her. Pretty young singer. It's from 1970, and the year before she had tragically passed away in a car accident together with her mother. Her son was also in the accident, but he survived luckily. And she had just made 2 albums before that, so she was really on the rise as a great star. And she was followed at her funeral. There were 3,000 people, and there have been many. This is the ironic thing. There have been many issues with her music. More issues issued after her death than before her death, which is often the case when somebody dies young. And yeah, she's part of the 27 Club, Club 27, because she was just 27 years old when she passed away. Alexandra. Okay, this is the most expensive record I bought, but I think I got a quite good deal because it's in great shape and great, and it sounds really great. I think this group is very underrated. Steppenwolf. Steppenwolf, the second, and it's a UK pressing from 1968 on the stateside label. And I think most record collectors, especially here in Europe, have a special things for these UK versions of American issues, because just like the UK issues from the EMI labels, nice, lovely laminated front sleeve, and the back flips like this, you know. And this is their second album, as you can guess. The first one is the one with their big hit, Born to Be Wild, which is also great. But they're a bit. I think most people just think about that song, Born to Be Wild, when they think about Steppenwolf. They had many more good songs, and their records are well worth checking out. And I'm very happy I found this. Oh yeah, this is a fun little thing. A compilation album with a round sleeve. It's a compilation, or you could call it sampler album for Warner Brothers and Reprise. It's called Fruity, and this is a German issue. Sonderpreis Deutschmark 10. Unverbindel Richtpreis. It is a very good sampler album with tracks from Alice Cooper, Allman Brothers Band, Curved Air, Ry Cooder, Faces, America, Van Morrison, Fleetwood Mac, John Baldry, Grateful Dead, and one of my favorite groups, Fanny. It is from 1972. And a lovely sampler. I like these sampler albums because, you know, the record company want to make the record buying audience more interested in, okay, in what they have in their stable, so to speak. We got this music, buy these records. And I was quite well aware of most of the artists on this album. There's a group called Malo that I didn't know about that made an album. Yeah. I got a bit more interested in checking John Baldry up more closely because I haven't, because there's a Seventh Son by Willie Dixon on this sound, and I think it was an amazingly good version. So, and a funny little thing with a round sleeve, and it was cheap too. Okay. Okay, I've been babbling for ages here, but I've been away for some time, so. Two last albums they have some sort of connection to Uppsala, because the record store, Open Mind Records, that I went to in Uppsala also have a record label, and they make their own records, and they are very eager to promote recordings from the city of Uppsala. That's very nice. This next one is not from the Open Mind label, but it is with Uppsala, the Uppsala connection, and it's called Back and Forth. And Back, that is actually singer-songwriter P.G. Back, or Per-Göran Back. I think he's a librarian. It works in Uppsala at a library there. But also a very talented singer and songwriter. And he's made this record together with Mattias Lagerqvist, Mats Arnell, and Marcus Berggren. And they have it's no label, so they have paid for this by themselves. But it looks very professional, actually, with a inner sleeve with lyrics and everything. And it's very well recorded and well sung. Great songs, especially the final song, Split in Half, which is one of the better songs I've heard for several months now. So I bought this on a whim. I had no idea what it was, but I just wanted to bring home something Uppsala connected. When I come from, when I've been in Uppsala, I want to bring something home that has some sort of Uppsala connection. And it was a great surprise, and I hope he's very successful with this project. Back, Per-Göran Back, PG Back. And probably the weirdest record at the end with the Uppsala connection, and it's Edgy Wojolo. Edgy Wojolo. And that's a music project. I think it's 2 or 3 members. And I'm going to quote the label here. DIY lo-fi Eastern influenced folk psych meets 70s electronics. And that's a good that's a good description of this music. It's very drone-like. It's like mantra music with tabla drums and electric guitars, which brings a prog element to the whole thing, and theremins and instrumental music. And this is handmade and hand-numbered vinyl edition, only 96 copies. 96 copies. Insert with track info, download code, 2 postcards, and 1 piece from a 96-piece jigsaw puzzle. So there's a piece of a jigsaw puzzle in 96 pieces, and in each copy of this vinyl album, there's one of the pieces to that jigsaw puzzle. Let's see if I can. These are the postcards. No. And sleep fell down. And here's the piece of the jigsaw puzzle. And the music, I've bought this as a challenge to myself because I can get a bit restless sometimes when it comes to drone-like music. But this was actually very varied and well performed and interesting, so I listened to it with great pleasure. So I don't regret the purchase. Also, I like to support the music of Uppsala. So well done, Edgy Wojolo. Sorry if I mangled the how you pronounce it because I have no idea really. All right, that's it for now. Thank you for watching and take care and see you soon again, I hope. Bye bye.